Hi guys, sorry to interrupt your video. Just a quick plea, subscribe to my channel please. If you haven't done it already, subscribe. Tell your friends, subscribe. Thanks. Why is it important to make full use of the slip road as you join a motorway? Well, the longer you stay out of the traffic, the more time you have to get to the same speed as the traffic that you're joining. Therefore, use the whole length of the slip road. If you've got an underpowered or a low powered car, you're going to need that extra room to build your speed in. Because they're supposed to turn around if you need to. What? Who the hell turns around on a slip road? To allow you direct access to the overtaking lanes. To allow you to fit safely into the traffic flow in the left-hand lane. I like that, because you can continue on the hard shoulder. No, you can't continue on the hard shoulder. You're not allowed on the hard shoulder. Try to join the motorway without affecting the progress of the traffic in the left-hand lane, and always give way to traffic already on the motorway. At busy times, you may have to slow down to merge into slow-moving traffic. It's true. How should you position yourself when you use the emergency telephone on a motorway? You want to, well, let's see. Okay, stay close to the carriageway. No, because that's where all the cars are. Face the oncoming traffic. Yes, because if somebody mucks it up and starts driving at you and is going to kill you, you need to jump out of the way. So face them. Keep your back to traffic. No. Stand on the hard shoulder. No. Next. So traffic is passing you at speed. If the draft from a lorry catches you by surprise, it could blow you off balance and even onto the carriageway. By facing the oncoming traffic, you can see approaching lorries and so be prepared for their draft. You'll also be in a position to see if any other hazards are approaching. What colour are reflective studs between the hard shoulder and the left-hand lane of a motorway? Well, they're red. Watch my little video on cat's eyes. It shows you how to remember it. On a 3-lane motorway, which lane should you use if there's no traffic ahead? The left. We drive on the left in England. The left. There. Left-hand lane unless you're overtaken. What should you do when you're going through a contraflow system on a motorway? So you can tell it's a contraflow because this line here represents the crash barrier in the middle, the central reservation. Okay. So max speed 30, fine. Use dip headlights. No, keep a good distance from the vehicle ahead. Well, yes, that makes sense. You should always do that. Switch lanes to keep traffic. No. Stay close to the vehicle. No. At roadworks, and especially where contraflow system is operating, a speed restriction is likely to be in place. Keep to the lower speed limit and don't switch lanes. Get too close to the vehicle in front of you or get too close to the vehicle. Right, be aware there will be no permanent barrier between you and the oncoming traffic. That's right. I mean, and they vary. Sometimes they're just wires that are strung out. Sometimes they have concrete blocks so you bounce off them. But it's not a permanent thing. You're on a 3-lane motorway. Which lane are you in if there are red reflective studs on your left and white ones on your right? Well, you are in the left-hand lane because the red reflective studs are between the hard shoulder and the main carriageway. And white are between lanes. So, you are in the left-hand lane. So, you are... Hang on. Which lane are you in if there are red reflective studs on your left? Yes, you're in the left-hand lane. What should you do when you're approaching roadworks on a motorway? Right, you've got roadworks coming up. They might take you off in all sorts of different directions. Through a central reservation, they might close a lane, they might do whatever. Start reading your road signs, you work out which lane you need and get in it in good time. Don't leave it to the last minute when traffic starts to slow down and bunch up. Alright, there was a bit actually when they were widening or turning the M3 into a smart motorway, the contraflows, the right-hand lane, went through the central reservation and went against the flow of traffic, effectively. Fine. But it actually went out there, past and exit. So it went past junction 4, 4A. It went past 4A. So anybody that was trying to get off at 4A couldn't unless they were in lanes 1 or 2. Okay, so but the road signs told you all of this. So it said for exit 4A, lanes 1 and 2, and exit 3, or lane 3, was for continuing towards London. So what should you do when you're approaching roadworks on a motorway? Speed up to clear the area quickly? No. Always use the hard shoulder? No. Obey the speed limit? Yes, that's just common sense. You should do that anyway. Stay very close to the vehicle in front? No. Right, be aware reduced speed limits at roadworks. Speed limits shown inside a red circle are mandatory and cameras are often used to enforce the reduced limit. Slow down in good time and keep the distance from the vehicle in front. Which vehicles are prohibited on, i.e. not allowed, to use the motorway? Powered mobility scooters, because they are too slow. Motorcycles over 50cc, now they can go fast. Double deck bus, they can go fast. Cars, no. So all of this lot can attain a half decent speed, but anything slow, not allowed on. I can't find anything written anywhere particularly, but I believe the marking or the cut-off point is about 40 miles an hour. Your car must be able to attain at least 40 before it is classed as being allowed on the motorway. That's the sort of general feel, but I haven't found it written down anywhere. What should you do while you're driving or riding along a motorway? Right, well, let's have a look. Look much further ahead than you would on other roads. Yes, because you're travelling at greater speeds, anything that happens a long way away, you'll be on top of in no time at all. So you've got to look long. Don't just look at the back of the car in front of you. Look real long, as far as you can see. But you should drive and looking as far as you can see all the time. I don't care which environment you're in, you look as far as you can see and then everything in between. The earlier warning you get of something, the better driver you are. People look way too close. This is why there's a minimum distance on the vision, you know, your sight test. So, travel much faster than you would on other roads. No, shut up. Right, maintain a shorter separation distance than you would on other roads. Concentrate more than you would on other roads. Well, look long, right? Traffic on motorways usually travels faster than on other roads. You need to be looking further ahead to give yourself more time to react to any hazard that may develop. What should you do immediately after joining a motorway? Let's see. Try to overtake. Might not be anything to overtake. Readjust your mirrors? Well, they don't need readjusting. They should be already adjusted before you drove the car. Position your vehicle in the centre lane. No, stay in the left. We drive on the left. Right, I'm just hammering that home. When you've just joined a motorway, stay in the left-hand lane long enough to get used to the higher speeds of motorway traffic before considering overtaking. Alright, that's reasonable. When would you use the right-hand lane of a 3-lane motorway? Well, for overtaking. It's when you're turning right. No, because you can't turn right on a motorway. That's the only distinction between a dual carriageway and a motorway, really. You can turn right through the central reservation on a dual carriageway, but you can't on a motorway. So when you're overtaking, yes, that's what it's for. It's an overtaking lane. When you're travelling above the speed limit, no. When you're trying to save fuel, no. The right-hand lane of a motorway is for overtaking. Sometimes you may be directed into a right-hand lane as a result of roadworks or a traffic incident. This will be indicated by signs or officers directing the traffic. You're on a motorway that isn't subject to smoked motorway regulations. That isn't subject. Okay. When should you use the hard shoulder? When you're stopping in an emergency. That's a good one. When you're leaving the motorway, no. When you're stopping for rest, no. When you're joining the motorway, no. It's for breakdowns or emergencies only. Right. You're in the right-hand lane of a 3-lane motorway. What do these overhead signs mean? Right. Let's zoom in for you. So the speed limit here is 50 in this lane. This one's 50, and this one means that the lane will be shutting soon, and they want you to move over into that lane. So you've got to be getting over into that lane, because the next one will have a red X on it, like that, and that means that lane is shut. As you can see, this one's 50, that lane's 50, that lorry is in the 50, but the lane to the left of him is shut. Sometimes that lane would be open, and if it was open, it would have a 50 in it. Here we go, here's an example. They're 40 in this instance. But here, the hard shoulder is open, so it's rush hour, whereas in this instance, it is shut. So you're not allowed to use the hard shoulder unless you break down. Okay, in emergency or breakdown, you can still use it. but is just not used as a running lane, is what it's known as. Okay, so what? Right, you're in the right-hand lane of a 3-lane motorway. What do these overhead signs mean? Move to the left and reduce your speed to 50. Reasonable. There are roadworks 50. No. Use the hard shoulder until you pass hazard. No. Leave the motorway next to it. No. You must obey these signs even if there appears to be no problems ahead. There could be queuing traffic or another hazard that you can't see yet, like a ladder in the middle of the road, for instance. Things fall off lorries and vans all the time. When are you allowed to stop on a motorway? Right. When you need to walk and get fresh air. No, that's what service stations are for. When you wish to pick up hitchhikers. No, they're not supposed to be walking on the motorway. When you're signalled to do so by traffic signals. Yes. If a sign says stop, i.e. you have X's across all of the lanes, you must stop. You're not allowed to go past an X. When you need to use mobile telephone. No, rubbish. So you must stop if a overhead gantry signs. That's the thing that I just showed you a second ago. These are overhead gantries. Shows a red cross above every lane on the motorway. If any of the other lanes doesn't show a red cross, you may move into that lane and continue if it's safe to do so. Yes. You're travelling in the left-hand lane of a 3-lane motorway. How should you react to traffic joining from a slip road? Right. So we're in the left-hand lane. Cars are coming on from our left. Create a gap so they can merge in, or if it's safe, do a lane change so they don't even have to merge with you. Just let them in. All right. So increase your speed to ensure they join behind you. No. Adjust your speed or change lane if you can do safely. There you go. Maintain a steady speed. Switch on your hazard. There you go. Plan well ahead when approaching a slip road. If you see traffic joining the motorway, be prepared to adjust your speed or move into the lane if it is safe to do so. This can help the flow of traffic joining the motorway, especially at peak times.